She thought you'd always be there until you weren't. And the moment you walk away, not out of spite, but out of power, everything inside her begins to unravel. Because when a man truly walks away, it doesn't just create distance, it creates chaos in her mind. Welcome back to Psychology Insight, the place where we break down emotional power dynamics, female psychology, and the unspoken truths no one dares to say out loud. Today, we're diving deep into what a woman actually feels when you walk away, from the inside-out panic to the silent storm behind her cold facade. But before we dive in, drop a comment below. I walk away with power. If you're the kind of man who's done chasing, who's done proving, who's done begging, this video is for you. Let's begin. 1. The ego fracture, when her illusion breaks. The first thing that happens when you walk away isn't sadness, it's disbelief. Her ego isn't built for rejection, especially not from a man she once felt superior to. You see, most women don't expect you to leave. In their world, they are the gatekeepers of attention. They're the ones who decide who stays, who waits, and who begs. So when you calmly remove yourself from her orbit, no pleading, no drama, no explanation, you fracture an illusion she thought was permanent. You weren't just another guy in her inbox. You were the guy who gave her power by chasing her, texting first, showing interest, waiting on replies. That gave her control. And the moment you stop doing all that, the fantasy that she's always in charge shatters. At first she tells herself it's temporary. You're just being dramatic. You'll be back. But then a few days go by. No text, no calls, no "I miss you." That's when the realization creeps in. This isn't a tactic. You're actually gone. And this scares her. Because now she has to confront something uncomfortable. Not just the fact that you walked away, but the fact that maybe you never needed her to begin with. Maybe the energy she mistook for obsession was actually genuine interest. Maybe she misjudged you. Or worse, maybe she overestimated her hold on you. This is when the mask starts to slip. You'll notice subtle shifts. She likes an old photo. She watches your stories religiously. She sends a pointless "hey" text. But don't mistake it for affection. It's panic. It's the first crack in a fortress she built out of attention. Because when you walked away, you didn't just leave her life. You pulled the plug on the emotional power source she was feeding off. And now she's scrambling to restore it. But here's the thing she never expected. Your silence is louder than any argument. It speaks of control, discipline, and peace. And that's terrifying for someone who thrived on emotional chaos. You see, a woman doesn't crumble when a man yells. She crumbles when he says nothing at all, when he walks away with grace and finality. Because that's when she realizes the truth. She never had you. Not really. She had your time, your energy, your effort, but never your soul. And now that all of it is gone, she's left staring at a version of herself she doesn't recognize, unsure, unvalidated, and emotionally powerless. And it all started the moment you chose to walk away. 2. The hidden panic behind her calm face. The second stage hits her harder than she'll ever admit. Panic disguised as composure. On the surface, she seems unbothered. She's still posting selfies, going out with friends, maybe even adding a quote or two about being unavailable or healing. But underneath all of that, she's in a psychological tailspin. Because here's the truth. The moment you walk away and she realizes you're not bluffing, her mind goes into overdrive. Women are emotional strategists. They understand social cues better than most men. So when your attention disappears, when she no longer feels the constant pulse of your presence, she starts to wonder, why isn't he watching my story? Why hasn't he checked in? Has he replaced me already? This quiet panic builds day by day. And because she's not used to feeling powerless in a romantic dynamic, her mind starts cycling through worst-case scenarios. Not because she necessarily wants you back, but because the absence of your energy creates a vacuum. And nature abhors a vacuum, so she tries to fill it. Not with love, but with control. You'll see it in small ways. She'll leave subtle social signals, maybe liking your posts, viewing your stories within minutes, or even sending a harmless "how have you been" message. These aren't accidents. They're calculated moves, bait to see if she still has influence over you. Because once she gets confirmation that you're still emotionally available, her panic subsides. But when you don't respond, when your silence remains consistent, the panic turns inward. She starts questioning her instincts. Was she wrong about how much you cared? Did she misread your level of attachment? And more importantly, is she losing her grip on the one thing that fed her emotional identity, your attention? This is a dangerous moment for her, because her pride tells her to act like she's moved on, but her heart keeps dragging her back to your digital presence. She's checking when you're online, wondering if you're talking to someone else, hoping you'll break first, but you don't. And that's when panic evolves into something deeper: doubt. She starts doubting her allure, her ability to captivate, her control over the situation, because most men would have cracked by now. Most men would have responded. Most men would have fallen for the bait. But you didn't. You held the line. You chose peace over reaction. And that unshakable stillness, it rattles her. Now her emotional world begins to tilt, because she's no longer in the seat of power. You are. And the more calm you remain, the louder her panic becomes. 3. The crippling doubt, when her confidence begins to crumble. Doubt is poison, and for a woman who's used to being desired, it's unbearable. The third phase begins when she realizes you're not playing games. You've truly walked away, and suddenly the confidence she projected starts to crumble. Understand something. Most women are not accustomed to rejection. From a young age, they've been validated for their looks, admired for their presence, and pursued without having to try. It becomes part of their identity, the belief that they are always the ones in control, always the prize. But when you, a man she thought she had wrapped around her finger, suddenly become unavailable, she begins to spiral. She starts overthinking. She stares into the mirror longer, picking apart her appearance. She rereads old conversations, trying to spot the moment you began to detach. She stalks your page not because she misses you, but because she's searching for evidence that she still matters to you. She's hoping for a sign that her value in your eyes hasn't diminished, but she finds nothing. And that silence, it creates emotional chaos. Her friends might tell her to move on, that you weren't worth it, that you're probably toxic. But it doesn't help, because what's eating her isn't your absence, it's her powerlessness. She can't control your feelings anymore, and for the first time, she feels replaceable. She doesn't just wonder if you've moved on, she wonders if you ever truly wanted her in the first place. That thought alone shatters the self-image she once held so tightly. Doubt begins to erode her emotional foundation. She tells herself you'll return. But as days turn into weeks and your energy never reappears, something irreversible happens. She starts losing belief in her own desirability. And for a woman who's always defined herself by the effect she had on men, that loss is devastating. 4. The rebound mistake, a temporary bandage on a deep wound. At this point, her ego is bleeding, and to stop the pain, she does what many do. She reaches for a rebound. But let's be clear. The rebound isn't about love. It's not about connection. It's about control. She wants to feel desired again, to see if she can still make a man chase, crave, and worship her. And usually, she picks someone easy. A man who's emotionally available, eager to please, and willing to give her the validation she no longer gets from you. For a while, it works. He compliments her, texts her first, praises her endlessly. But here's the problem. She doesn't respect him. Because he didn't earn her attention, she used him to escape the void you left behind. And when she realizes he's too eager, too predictable, too safe, she loses interest. She starts comparing everything he does to you. The mystery, the calm power, the control you held. He has none of it. This rebound isn't healing her, it's exposing her. Every date, every forced laugh, every fake smile is a reminder that she downgraded. She didn't replace you, she distracted herself. And eventually, the bandage falls off, and the wound starts bleeding again. because you can't patch over emotional chaos with comfort. And the rebound, it only delays the crash. 5. The false confidence mask. I'm fine without him. Now comes the performance. She's done feeling weak. So she puts on the show, new selfies, party pics, girls' nights, empowerment captions, maybe even a healing era post. All of it is curated to send a message, not to the world, but to you. I'm doing great without you. But here's what's really happening. She's not celebrating life. She's desperately trying to control the narrative, because the silence on your end is now deafening, and the only thing she can do to cope is pretend. Pretend she's over it. Pretend she's thriving. Pretend she won. But deep down, she knows what this is. A mask. And every time she checks if you've seen her story, every time she looks for your name in her notifications, every time she posts something just to get a reaction from you, she chips away at her own lie. This is the paradox. The louder she pretends to be over you, the more it proves she isn't. Because real peace doesn't need to be proven. It doesn't need to be broadcasted. And while she's screaming into the void, hoping you'll notice her again, you're calm, detached, unavailable. And nothing shakes a woman more than a man she can no longer reach, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. 6. The regret sets. I let a real one go. Now the silence isn't just confusing, it's humiliating, because at some point she realizes what she lost. You weren't perfect, but you were stable, present, intentional. You didn't beg, you didn't manipulate. You just wanted a real connection. And now that she's cycled through games, rebounds, and facades, she starts to see it. You were different. And with that realization comes regret. Not because she suddenly loves you, but because she recognizes that she traded something rare for something shallow. And that burns. She replays everything in her head. The way you used to look at her, the way you stayed loyal, the patience you had when she tested you, the consistency, the masculine presence, the respect you carried for yourself. She realizes she fumbled a man who couldn't be controlled. And that's the man every woman secretly wants. Now, the posts stop. The stories dry up. The fake confidence turns into silence. And in that silence, she's forced to confront the brutal truth. She didn't lose a man. She lost her last chance at emotional maturity. And by the time she realizes it, you're already too far gone. 7. The silent return, testing the waters. This is when she tries to claw her way back in, but subtly. A story reaction, a random meme, a hope you're doing well text out of nowhere. It's never direct. Never vulnerable. Why? Because admitting regret would mean admitting fault, and her pride won't allow that. So instead, she sends emotional feelers, breadcrumbs, anything to test if the door is still open. She wants you to respond, not because she's ready to change, but because she wants to confirm that you're still available, that she still has access. But your silence continues, and now every unreturned message is a dagger to her pride. She knows she messed up. She knows she misread you. And the longer you remain silent, the more power shifts in your favor. You're no longer the man who chased her. You're the man who mastered himself. And she doesn't know how to respond to that, because it's rare, it's real, and now it's out of reach. 8. The breakdown, losing control of her narrative. This is where the cracks become unhideable. She can't keep pretending anymore. The mask of confidence falls apart. She's short-tempered. She withdraws from her friends. Her energy is inconsistent. The emotional stability she used to weaponize is now her weakness, because for the first time she feels it deeply. She's no longer the prize. She's the one who got left. And that's a position she doesn't know how to process. She thought she was above you, that she could always come back, that your door would always be open. But now she knows that door has closed, not out of spite, but growth. You became unavailable, not just to her, but to any energy that isn't aligned with your peace. And in that realization, she starts breaking. Some women lash out, others isolate. But one thing is always true. The woman who pushed you away will always feel the collapse harder than the man who walked away to protect his peace, because he walked away with intention. She got left with confusion. 9. The internal collapse. From game player to haunted ex. This is the ghost phase, but not the one where you disappear. It's the one where she gets haunted. By memories, by what-ifs. By the realization that she's not the one who ended it, you are. She remembers the little things now. Your scent, your voice, the way you carried yourself, the way you looked at her when you were fully present. And it eats at her because she threw it all away, thinking she could do better, only to realize she was standing in gold the whole time. Now she scrolls through your old messages, wonders who you're with, tries to replicate what she had with you and other men, but it never fits. Because once a woman experiences a man who doesn't break, who leads with purpose, who walks away without drama, every other man seems lesser, and she knows it. But by now, it's far too late. She has become the haunted one. And you? You've become the ghost she can never forget. 10. The final realization. She lost a man. She'll never replace. This is where the story ends. Not with closure, but with consequence. She finally understands. You weren't a phase. You weren't an option. You were a man of value, and she let you walk. And this truth? It will sit with her for years. Every time she meets a new man who's too eager, she'll remember your restraint. Every time someone texts too much, she'll remember your discipline. Every time she sees a man bend over backwards to win her, she'll remember the one man who didn't need to, you, and she'll wish she had made a different choice. She'll wish she had seen your worth when you were offering it. But now, all she sees is your back as you walk away, head held high, never looking back. Because a man who understands his value never settles for being tolerated. He leaves to be treasured, and that, my friend, is what she'll never forget. If you've made it to the end of this video, I want you to comment below. I don't chase, I choose. That simple line? It separates the boys from the men. It marks the shift from emotional dependence to stoic strength. And if you want this kind of truth to reach more men who are still trapped in the cycle of chasing and pleasing, hit the subscribe button right now. Because this message is bigger than just one woman. It's about reclaiming your time, your energy, and your identity. You are not defined by who stays. You are elevated by what you walk away from. Stay grounded, stay strong. This is Psychology Insight, and we'll see you in the next one.